Alright, you beautiful peoples of the interwebs, Glyn here, cheapskate fishing, and back down the beach. As you can see, let me just do a little panny around me. There we go, just do a little panoramic, just using a selfie stick at the minute with the camera on it. And so we're down here. I haven't got any fishing gear with me, but what I have got, I've just come over here, so I'm doing everything with one hand. Got the old bait pump, so we'll just put that back. So we're going to basically be pumping some lugworm. So what you need to do that? Well, good pair of footwear, ideally pair of, I don't know if I can get these on camera. Got my wellies on, get your wellies on, because obviously it's going to be wet on the sand. Something to put your worms in, obviously. No good just putting them on my hand. I've got this nice sort of handle one which I can carry off. I like that one. Thank you, my sister, for that, Caroline. Lovely, she gave me that to me. Obviously you need the lug pump. Now I've got quite an old one, so the train just passing in the background there. I've had it, I can't even remember, I think it might be a Shakespeare one actually, and it's a thick one at the end I've got. That's what she said. But normally the more professional lug pumpers have got, especially the ones that do black lug, they've got a smaller, I think it's 22mm or something like that. Don't quote me on that. I'll try and I'll put a blurb up on the screen, the two different main sizes, but there's a wider one which I've got here, and there's a smaller one. Now starting off they recommend use the wider one. I should probably get a smaller one now. I've been doing a bit of pumping over the years, got a little bit better at it. Don't get too disheartened when you first transfer from digging lug, because this is a brilliant field or beach to dig from, because they're very close together. But for pumping, that's not a good thing, and we'll go over that in a minute anyways. It's just going to be the intro. So yeah, you'll need a pump. The other thing you'll need as well is, well, I've got a spanner, and that's for adjusting the tightness of the pump, so how much it pumps. A lot of times when you get them, that one came with like a wing nut on it. I replaced the wing nut for a proper bolt, because what happens with the wing nuts is as you're manoeuvring the pump in the sand, a lot of the time what you'll find is the wing nut will keep coming loose and you constantly tighten it, so you'll find a really good pressure, and then 2 minutes later or a couple of pumps later it's lost its suction, so you're back to square one. And essentially you've got to tune in the pump to the sand, the location, to how you like to pull. There's a lot of different things going on there. You've got to get it all sort of correct then to actually get successful at the actual pumping itself. Spanner, and the other thing you need is some lubrication. Again, that's what she said. So I use just ordinary, this is actually extra virgin oil, but normally I just use some sunflower oil or something that's organic. I wouldn't use a lot of people go, oh, you spray it with WD-40. Well, it's a petrochemical. I don't want to be spreading petrochemicals on the beach, so something more natural and organic. A good, well, not even a cheap sunflower oil or something like that. That's better. It's not gonna, it's not great for the environment, but it's better than using petrochemicals. So without that out the way, we need to go and find a nice patch. So ideally what you want is the tide to just be going out. I'm a little bit late, the tide has already made its way out probably a couple of hours ago, but the sand is still wet. So if I turn this way, you can see behind me here, you can see that the sand behind me is wet, and that's what we're looking for, is a wet. And also on the location there, I'm looking for someone that isn't too many casts. So I'll just try and have a find. So what you're looking for is a cast and a hole. I'll just show this as an example. So you can see there's the cast. This is a very small one, but there's the cast, there's the hole, so you'd pump there. But this is only a little tiny worm, so it's not what we want. We want a bigger version of what that's going to, is going to be really. Normally they're about a foot or so apart. So if there's too many casts, you can't really discern where the hole and the cast is, because sometimes they interlap with other worms on the beach when there's too many. And that's ideal for digging with the fork, but of course when you're pumping you need to know exactly which hole matches which cast. Right, so we're going to get down now to lubricating the pump. So just bringing the pump. Here's a sort of standard, what I call a standard bait pump. Nothing special about it, but as you pull it here, it sucks on this end, so that's where the worm's going to get sucked up. Air is expelled out through here, and that's essentially it. It's more just a valve. So we're going to put some oil in there. So I'm going to get my vegetable oil, and I haven't done this yet, and this hasn't been used for a while. Sometimes you'd get them a bit wet as well, but not too much. I'm just going to pour. That's more than enough actually, that's a little bit too much. This isn't an ideal bottle. Normally I'd use one of those little plastic refill things that you'd see a lot of vapor people using, little squirty vapor bottle. And then just take it and just give it a few twists, turns and pumps. That's a little bit on the tight side, but what that'll help with, it'll help with lubrication, it'll help with a smoother pump, and it'll also help with keeping the end there, stopping the air leaks as well. So that's essentially that end. Sometimes I will put a little bit of oil down this end as well, and I think I'll do that now. I'll just have a little bit on there. Just so I've got both sides sort of lubricated up. Make sure you put the lid back on if you're using a bottle like I am, or you'll have a very greasy pocket. Lovely, so now what we need to do is go and find some worms. Right, so if I come over here a bit, sorry about the camera angle, a bit thing, but what we're looking at here, I'll just show you, how do we know which hole goes with which cast? So we've got lots of casts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 holes there. There's another hole sort of here, so we don't really know which hole. So we're trying to avoid that. So just set the pump up over here. And if I just put the camera down, I don't want to disturb the worm too much, but we just take a look here. Trying to come down a little bit. So here we can see that this cast is definitely with this hole. So this is where we're going to try and do a pump. So I'm going to put it not straight down, a little bit of an angle, not much, 10-15 degrees. Go in a little bit and suck. Have a little look. Now on this beach I know it normally doesn't come first. A couple of pumps. Just going through the sand here. Picking that up. Okay, so we didn't get anything on that one, but essentially that's the technique we're going to go. See if we can find something else. Let's go to a bit of wetter sand, a little bit more chance of seeing. Here's a good one. We can see here this one, that one's a very mucky looking one, but let's try and go in here. And as it is, I've also noticed that I'm not tight enough on the pump, so I need to give it a quarter of a turn, try it again, check the mud. No, still haven't got. Now a lot of professional pumpers would have given up by now, but I find sometimes it's the second or third pump with these wider pumps. Also it's hotter weather, they might be deeper down. But okay, so that's a fail. So we've had 2 fails. Now a lot of times after I've had about 6 fails, I'll move to a set and I'll move somewhere else. I'll go to a different patch. But we're going to try again. I've got another nice one here coming up. Here and here. And here we go. So we're all right on that one. So there's your first worm. Okay, so that came out on first pump. So we'll try now. There's another nice one just by here. Hopefully we're getting that on camera. Let me just put this worm by here. Try this one. Get a little bit too much air coming from that one. I think we missed. Oh, sometimes you got to check. I got a broken worm, so we had a worm but we broke it. I don't really want the broken ones. So essentially that's the technique. We'll do one more. Here's the hole, here's the cast. Try and get it on there. There we go. We'll do a little bit too much air come through there for my liking. But there we go. So there we go again. So there's the worm. So quite successful this. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to carry on this patch. And I think we've got the gist of it there. I mean, I could show you an hour's footage of me pumping lug, but I don't think that's gonna help you other more than what I can there with what I've picked. So we got 2 worms. What we had 5, 6 pulls. So one every 3. That's normally quite good for me. 1 every 3 pumps is good for me. Sometimes you'll get a really good session and you'll get 1 every 2, 1 every 3. Sometimes you'll get 5 or 6 in a row. But of course then, if it is working like that, it's a lot quicker than digging. That's what I found. So essentially that's how I do my pumping. Wet sand, wait for the tide to go out, lubricate your pump, tighten your pump or tune your pump in. And just go for it, give it a go. They're not expensive. I've seen some pumps. In fact, I'm going to order one off eBay, and we'll do a little review of it. I've seen one on eBay for about £20–30, a thinner one. Maybe it's time I sort of changed over to using the smaller ones. Anyway, we'll see you later on, because this is going to be part of a 2-part video where this bait hopefully will end up out there in the kayak. See you in a bit, guys. Right, so I've been just over half an hour, just under 40 minutes. This is what we've got. Let's take this out. It's a big bucket. We'll count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 23, 25, 26, 27, 29, 30. Oh, so we got about 33 or so in the bucket, and that was in about 40 minutes. So nearly 1 a minute. So that's not too bad, and that's more than enough for a little kayak session. Right there. What a beautiful sunset it is tonight. Look at that. Gorgeous, mate. Gorgeous. Alright, so this has been Glyn, Cheapskate Fishing. I'll see you on the next one. Bye now.